Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and have a great and wonderful day. It seems that I'm going to be talking about the atrocities and the evil tree of Hamas. Now, I am not trying to take sides in terms of what is between the political conflict or the natural conflict of Israel and Iran or Palestine or what have you. That's not what I'm doing here. What I am showing you is the stupidity of people of where they think that Hamas is great or whatever, and but what they have done has done immense measurable harm. And I think that people need to start realizing the way of this. The far left are not going to agree with me, but this is what they're doing. Israel is not doing the same type of atrocities as what it is. I don't think death on either side, whether the innocent die at all, is even a remotely good thing. I think that that is not something that should be done. However, I can understand Israel's response when they were attacked. And when Hamas breaks the siege fire or breaks the treaty or what have you, then you can kind of understand where Israel is coming from and why they're attacking again. We have this depravity that defies comprehension. Women raped, whether alive or dead. Others tortured until every organ was removed. The horrifying accounts of Hamas rape genocide that left survivors so traumatized some have taken their own lives. Horrified witnesses to Hamas's October 7th massacre have been left suicidal, with at least one person already taking their own life, it has been reported. It comes amid the release of testimonies given by those who saw the terror attack firsthand, or were among the first at the scene in the days that followed. Survivors and witnesses to October 7th have said Israeli women were raped, whether they were alive or dead, and tortured in unimaginable cruel ways. Once, one man who hid in a pit during the attack on the Nova Musical Festival said he heard someone nearby screaming as she was raped, while combat paramedics said they saw the body of a young woman with her legs open and pants pulled down. The volunteer tasked with finding and collecting bodies also said in written witness testimony that he found women in their homes tied to the bed. One had been tortured, a knife stuck into their vagina, and all her internal organs removed, he wrote. The accounts and first assessments of Israeli rights groups suggest sexual assault was part of an atrocities-filled rampage by Hamas and other Gaza militants who killed about 1,200 people, most of them civilians, and took more than 240 hostages. With Israel calling on the international community to recognize the massacre as a crime against humanity, one investigator said Hamas stormed across Israel's border with Gaza with a clear order to use rape as genocide. One horrific video testimony came from a woman who was at the music festival and was shown privately to journalists by Israeli police, according to the BBC. In it, the woman, named only as Witness S, described seeing Hamas fighters rape a woman and mutilate her before the last of her attackers shot her in the head. The gunman then continued to rape her after she was executed, the witness said. During the assault, Witness S told police that the attackers cut off parts of the victim's body, such as her breasts, and threw it on the street. The woman in the video described watching the terrorists as she pretended to be dead. I couldn't understand what I saw, she said. Her testimony was released last month and was presented by Israel's police chief. Another man was also at the festival site on October 7th, said he heard a woman scream as she was raped by Hamas terrorists. Ron Freger fled the music festival when Hamas attacked and said he heard a woman screaming for help. I was lying in a pit and I heard a girl yelling, they're raping me, he told the Associated Press. Several minutes later, he heard gunshots close by and she fell silent, he said. The feeling in that moment is one of the complete powerlessness. I'm lying in this hole and I have no ability to do anything. I have no weapon. I have nothing. I am surrounded by other people who are hiding with me and we're completely powerless, said the 23-year-old from the northern Israeli town of Netanya. The BBC also spoke to a man who heard noises of screams of people being murdered, raped, and decapitated. In a statement released through a support organization, he said some women were raped before they were dead, some raped while injured, and some were already dead and when the terrorists raped their lifeless bodies. And I just really wanted to help, but there was nothing I could do. We have some of this here. One witness who was at the festival spoke of how one was gang raped before she was mutilated. And then one surviving Israeli soldier only using her first name Abigail. I probably pronounced that wrong. The BBC, it was hard to know how many victims have been raped, and some of the bodies have been burned. In further testimony, a combat medic told the Associated Press that he came across half a dozen bodies of women and men with possible signs of sexual assault when he realized one of the attack communities. One girl had been shot in the head and was lying on the floor, her legs open and pants pulled down with what looked like steaming on her lower back, said the medic who spoke on condition of anonymity because his unit was classified. Other bodies had bleeding around the groin limbs at distorted angles, he said. He was among a number of responders to detail what they saw in the aftermath of the attack. Their accounts make up much of the evidence of sexual assault. At Shira military base where victims were being identified, Shari Mendez, a member of the Army Service Unit that deals with identification and religious burial preparation for female soldiers, said some of the women's bodies came in with little clothing, such as parts of their pajamas. Some only had bloodied underwear. The soldier also spoke at a unit event in New York City on New York on Monday titled "Here Are Voices: Sexual and Gender-Based Violence in October 7th Hamas Terror Attack." She said, Our team commander saw several female soldiers who were shot in the crotch, intimate parts, vagina, or shot in the breast. This seemed to be a systematic genital mutilation of a group of victims. These women arrived with their eyes open, their mouths in grimaces, their fists clenched, she added. The soldiers that we dealt with had expression of agony on their faces. I remember a young woman whose arm was broken in so many places it was difficult for us to lay her arm in the burial shot, her leg too. In her case, the entire left of her body was shredded, torn apart, most likely by a grenade. One of the people talked with collecting bodies with Saka religious volunteer organizations told the BBC that they saw signs of torture and mutilation. He said such signs included a pregnant woman whose womb had been ripped open before she was killed and the unborn fetus stabbed. They said it had been unable to verify the Zaka volunteers' account and pointed out that Israeli media reports have questioned some of the testimony of volunteers who worked in the aftermath of the attack. Another Nachman doesn't. We're going to just go with Nachman here. Provided with written testimony detailing how he saw the bodies of two women in gibbous buried with their hands and tied behind the bed. One was sexually terrorized with a knife stuck in her vagina and all her internal organs removed. So it's kind of repeating itself here. But this is the reality that we're facing here when we're dealing with these people. Now, I'll most likely stop due to traumatizing and all this stuff. But these are the things that the Hamas people were doing to these women. All right? We have people like Hassan here that is going out and saying that this is normal, this is fine. These are atrocities that should happen. And I don't know about you, but these type of atrocities should never, ever happen, ever. This is by far worse than what Russians have ever done to the women that we've seen so far, right? This is beyond barbaric. These are not human type of atrocities here. These are beyond barbaric. This is a recent report, by the way. Was on December 6th. I was able to find this later on. This is disgusting. This is abhorrent. This is downright pure evil. There is no way that I would want this to happen to anybody on either side, whether Palestine or Israeli. These atrocities. These are evil people. These are people that actually want to commit harm. Now, I'm not saying that this is everything that is going on, right? I'm not saying that all of the Palestinian people did this, but what I am saying is at the very least, the soldiers did these atrocities, and we can't go out and start saying this is okay, and we have people out in our own country saying that this is what should happen. I am sick and tired of it, and the things that I'm hearing in this article is disturbing, and it should disturb you too. And I'm only trying to show one side of things and the other side of things. I think I will do something about the Israeli part of things too, but these atrocities need to stop. These people are no longer human. I don't deem these people as human. There's one thing with attacking military bases and all that, but it's a complete difference when you're attacking innocent people and doing the horrific things that they did to these women. It's barbaric. And I know that if Hassan thinks this is okay, which I know he does, because I know that Ethan Klein, and him had a falling out because of political differences of Hassan not wanting to call out the absolute horror and atrocities that some of the Palestinians or Hamas people were doing. And this is just reality. when you deal with people like this, you cut them from your lives, because all it is going to do is cause immense harm and just a backstabbing. All right. So again, this is just reality. I'm showing you guys reality. It's dark. It's evil. It's bad, and I understand. But until people get to see the actual dark side of everything, on how people were talking about these things, you're going to be hidden in the dark, and you're not going to get a good enough representation. I don't like the atrocities that Israel is doing to the innocent people either. But we have to understand that Hamas is not innocent as well. Alright? Alright, guys. That's this video. Like, share. As always, take care.
I'm disgusted by what I see in public. Even people closest to us can't be trusted. Cause it's algorithmic disease, the social media.